Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
I taught elementary school years back when I first started teaching, and I spent a lot of time, like 13 years, teaching in the correction system for the state of Alabama, and I'd done my duty there, and I felt that I had another calling, and that was to teach elementary school again. And so this was the perfect opportunity for me to take a different route and come back and start all over by inspiring these young minds. Due to COVID, I'm limited as far as like kids coming into my classroom, so I have to go to them. So my morning consists of sanitizing supplies, markers and pencils and things like that, loading my cart, and getting myself ready to move about the school. You will see me on a cart heading down that hallway, sprinting back and forth from one class to the other. We spend a lot of time studying artists and discussing rich vocabulary that's associated with various artists and cultures, and doing virtual field trips because we're limited in traveling right now. And so I try to bring as much to them as possible, be it through their artwork as well as being able to see these different museums and things that go along with it. So that's pretty much what the day consists of with me. That cart and sprinting back and forth, and you see Crayolas flying everywhere. I just hope that they have that aha moment. I'm always looking for my students who are learning from me to go, I get it, or to have that creative breakthrough, like, look at this, look what I did. I want them to be proud of their work, and when they look up at me, I want them to be like, look what I did, look at this, or Miss Edwards, we did it. And that is, I get chills right now because that is just what I'm looking for. I just want them to have that creative breakthrough. And if they can have that creative breakthrough and they haven't broken down crying in the process, then I've accomplished it. And trust me, it happens often. I've been creating since I was old enough to hold something to draw on the wall. My father is creative, and a lot of my creative inspiration came from him. Growing up, he would create my worksheets for me, our posters that had our alphabets and things like that on it. He would draw those. And so that's my earliest experience as far as being able to create and being inspired by art. I started creating at an early age, and I fell in love with color, and I fell in love with the ability to express myself without even having to talk. I'm not a big talker. I just really feel like I can just tell you anything and everything I want you to know through art, and so that is why I'm the creator. I am in the private collection of former Congressman John Lewis. I created a portrait of him, one of his mugshots, and I created that piece for a Roots and Wings show. Not really Roots and Wings, but it was about, the theme of the show was for you to create a portrait of someone from Alabama or someone that had Alabama roots, and that was through 21 Dreams, which is a art collective out of Montgomery. And I have to tell you about them because I have to mention their name because they are my platform as to how I got to Congressman Lewis. So I created that piece, and the story behind it is just so amazing. Created that piece, and it was put on display at a fundraiser that he appeared at. And he was at the fundraiser, and prior to him actually being going to the actual fundraiser, I'm trying to get the story together because there's so many versions of it. He happened to have seen the artwork, and he stopped the guy that was carrying it, and he wants to see it. And so little did I know, he eventually purchased it. And at the time, I was not even in Alabama. I was in Atlanta. I had taken my kids to the circus. And I started getting these phone calls and found out that he had actually purchased the piece. And so I was trying to get to Montgomery to see him that very day after I got the phone calls to come in because he had made the purchase for the artwork, and I missed him just by about 10 minutes. And when I got there, they were like, "Oh, he purchased your work," and I was so overwhelmed. And I was just amazed at the fact that he had purchased that piece, and then I found out he had purchased several others along with it, and so that was just like my springboard that has made me the artist that I am today. My new successes. It just gave me a different perspective as to where I was going to go as a creative. Take a sketchbook with you wherever you go. Always create. If you're not creating, if you're not drawing, if you're not doodling, write it down. Write down what you see, write down what you feel, because that is where your inspiration comes from, your environment or wherever you are. And to don't stop, just keep going. For me, I create all the time. If I'm walking or if I'm talking to someone, I'm creating in my mind. I'm formulating something creative. I never leave home without a sketchbook, so you always want to make sure that you have something that you can write down, write on. Maybe a piece of mail, maybe a receipt, maybe even a notebook, but always keep a sketchbook with you so that you can collect those thoughts, because as a creative, we have to create and we have to have an avenue to do it. And so your brain, you're creating. That sketchbook, you're documenting it. So always keep a sketchbook.